Hello, Serge here. Today's lesson I want to talk about a setup position that can cause a lot of problems with the balance in the setup as well as in the swing. And what that is how should the arms hang to be in a dynamically balanced setup position so we can have a balanced swing. And the thing that I see most often from golfers of all abilities, from amateurs with high handicaps to scratch handicaps, and even into club pros, top amateurs that I teach, and touring pros, we all suffer from this same thing. And you notice I said we, because even I suffer from this, and it's a major issue that I have in my setup, and I have to deal with it occasionally with DJ. And that is, how do the arms hang to be in a proper position to be in balance? The big issue that I see with most folks is that they overstretch their arms to get into their setup. And what happens, and I'm going to start with a sand wedge here, which is the shortest and most vertical club. We tend to, as we bend over to start getting into our posture, to kind of drop but also extend the arms out a little bit. And that easily starts getting us out of position. Now, if you notice, I have this white stake in front of me here, and that's the thing that I'm going to use to look down at myself to determine what my position is. And again, getting back, we tend to push the club out. So when we stand here and get into our athletically ready posture, which is just like a ball player in the field or a tennis player waiting for a serve, we just bend at the waist and the knees at the same time, and it pushes out the hips. I call that the accordion effect. But the key is when we do that, the arms should just go down, but we tend to go this way and stretch them out. Why is stretching seem to happen so much? Because as you stretch your arms a little bit, it stretches or pulls the muscles straighter, and that feels strong. It gives us that sense of strength and power. And unfortunately, it doesn't take much to get too far stretched, and the next thing you know, the muscles are stretched to where they're starting to be tightened, where they're going to move slower rather than faster. And once you stretch a little bit too much, it tends to pull the body forward. The body has two centers around which we have balance. The center of gravity of the body is pointed at the base of the spine, and the center of gravity of the swing is at the top of the spine, at the neck. And in a peak performance golf swing, where we go in the mitt and up the tree, it's a vertical swing. And as you notice, my shoulder, the connecting point of the string and the rock, meaning the club head's the rock, and the shaft in the left, and in my left arm, my forward arm is the string. That comes up to the neck, and then when I finish, the back arm and shoulder swings up around the neck. So to swing around the neck, we have to be in a proper posture, which is the arms hanging relatively straight down when I get into that posture, like the baseball players in the field. Get too far out, we're in trouble. So what I draw in my mind whenever I look down is when I step into it in good posture and I go down, naturally my arms should be hanging straight down from my shoulders, which is just about where my hands will end up, with the lead knuckle or the thumb knuckle of my top hand, which in my case, my left hand, or you can look at basically where the two hands meet up here at that knuckle. I draw a line in my mind up from that point, and that's what this white line's doing. It's here to show that. So I draw that line up, and if I'm correct in terms of the hanging of my arms being correct, that line will come up somewhere around my chin to my nose. Hands inside of that, into my chest or stomach or chest. I'm standing too close. Hands, when I draw that line up, now being outside that line where it starts to get to my nose, to my forehead. In other words, I like the nose to the chin, or just under the chin is to be correct. Once I get outside the nose, and especially if I reach and get way out here, I'm definitely in trouble. And why is that in trouble? Because if you're reaching too much, as soon as you start to try to take the club back into the mitt, you're going to be likely falling forward, so your balance mechanism has to do something to save you from that. So it's going to make you tighten up your hips and your legs, so you create more tension here. The stretching itself automatically tightens up the arms, the neck, the shoulders, the upper back, and so you're creating tension. You're not athletically ready, and you're not in dynamic balance. And then conversely, if you are reaching too much when it's time to swing the club, you likely pull the club back inside to get it back under you, under your neck, so you'll have balance to be able to stand up. And that, therefore, we will not be in the mitt, toe up and up the tree. And the wedges through about the 7-iron are the easiest ones to do because they are the most vertical clubs. But as we get into longer clubs and flatter like this 7-iron, it becomes even easier to get the hands out there and stretch too much. And normally, if that usually happens, we just counterbalance by bending our knees too much, and then again, we're out of dynamic balance, and our weight could actually be going back to the ankles and onto the heels. And then takeaway is difficult, dynamic balance is out. And naturally, last but not least, when you get to your driver, the longest club in the bag, that becomes even again easier to stretch. So the key is whether you have your sand wedge, which is the most vertical club at that angle, to be lying correctly on the ground, or the driver, which is much flatter. All clubs need to be at that point. When I draw that line straight up here, it needs to be about the top knuckle. So the most important key that you want to check in your setup, you visually draw this imaginary line from your top knuckle of your upper hand straight up towards your chin, and it should be about chin to nose. You start addressing every club in that position, and you'll find that you're going to have a much more dynamically balanced and athletically ready posture to make that balanced and athletically ready swing to hit the ball more solid, straight, and longer. For the Surge, that's it for me today, and I'll be talking to you all again soon.